Hello there. My name is Kemi TONY-AKINWUNMI, and I'd like to welcome you to another series on making marriage work. And on this episode, we'll be taking another question from you, our online audience. And I have with me Mr. Kunle Emmanuel Adebayo. He will help me read the questions and we can give some answers to you today.
Yes.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes, as always.
Yes.
Yes, that's good. So, today's question is kind of interesting. So this is somebody saying that is oral sex a sin in marriage? And I used to enjoy sex and oral sex with my ex. I got married 5 years now and can't find fulfillment in sexuality with my wife because she has continuously refused my request to oral sex because of her spiritual beliefs. This has affected me greatly because I want more with our sexual life.
Right. Okay, thank you for that question. So the young man, so the first thing is oral sex a sin? People would have different opinions and views about what oral sex is.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Yes, not everybody is open to oral sex or certain sexual activities, even though it has to do with still in the institution of marriage. Some would have a bit of restriction to it. So, but for the young man who is comparing his sexual relationship with the ex, which means that the sexual fulfillment he had with his ex seems greater than what he is currently experiencing in his marriage. And truly, it shouldn't be so. Because one would think that you should be having a great time sexually with your spouse in your marriage. But oral sex, the first thing I want to also find out is what your wife thinks about oral sex. For some, it could be for their spiritual, beliefs that is a sin, it's ungodly, it's demonic, and for some it could just be an issue with hygiene. Because for oral sex, it takes you being clean to want to engage in such acts with your partner. Yeah. So for some, it could be for hygiene, issues. For some, it could just be that it's not something that is just pure to them. They would rather do any other sexual, activity with their partner, but not oral. So right now, the dilemma of this man is, in my current relationship, I want to engage in oral sex with my wife, but she's not agreeing to it. So one would first of all want to ask, what were the discussions you had prior to the marriage? Did you talk extensively about your sexual experiences, your sexual, openness, your sexual exploitation, your sexual expectations and desires? Sometimes people talk about those things, maybe not extensively. Or sometimes people don't even talk about sex during relationship for some people. And for some, they talk about it and then they get into marriage and it's something else. But currently, if your wife does not agree to oral sex, there is pretty much nothing you can do because you can't force her. She needs to understand that it is something she's comfortable doing. Because if you force her to practice any sexual activity she is not willingly practicing, you are going to be tilting towards abusing her. Because that could be termed as sexual abuse if you force anyone to do what they do not want to do. So you want to have that conversation really with your wife. What exactly are her fears or concerns or worry, or why is she declining on your need for sexual, for oral sex? So the excuse she gives from the question, I believe, is for religious practices. Beliefs. Yeah. So maybe we have had, some clergy who would say that to do certain type of sex with your partner is ungodly, is sinful. And that is not right. No human being has the legitimate right to dictate what happens in the bedroom of a couple. Nobody. The people in the marriage are the only one who can decide the kind of sexual experience they want to have. If the two people say that we don't want sex practice A, then that is fine. Not an external person, not a clergy or So, but then sit with your partner, let her understand this is a need that you have. But if she's not agreeing to it now, does she still agree to some other sexual practices with you? So that's going to be your focus of enjoyment currently. Okay. Until maybe as you tell her, as you lovingly remind her, as you occasionally bring it up, as you listen to her, as you also fulfill her own sexual desires. Maybe along the line, or even get her to read certain books, you know, watch certain movies. Maybe that could get her to open up to you and then want to practice that. But if she's not, remember, you can't force her and you don't want to abuse her. So enjoy whatever sexual activity is happening now. And that's also one of the problems with we having, you know, carryovers from our past relationships, because the comparison you keep doing up in your head could also make you begin to see that your wife is not delivering enough sexual fulfillment to you. It could actually be a lie, because no matter how good oral sex is, you can't have a baby from oral sex. You still have to, you know, get involved with the normal sexual practice with your partner. So focus on what she's doing. Appreciate that. Let us see that, you know, she's not being compared, because we don't even know, maybe in your words, in your, you know, physiology, and in a lot of your expressions, you're already comparing your wife with your ex, and that would even pull her, you know, further away from wanting to grant that request of yours. So I think enjoy what she's doing now, appreciate her, take time off on that demand, focus on nurturing, loving, and, you know, satisfying her too. And then once in a while, lovingly, nicely, jokingly, just bring it up. Let's explore, let's practice other things. Can we try something new? And you never know, because in counseling, we have seen that a couple who said no to a certain sexual activity in second year in marriage, maybe the one even demanding for it in the third year. It depends on what happens in between, and particularly our attitude at that time. So it's not time to compare her, shut her down, abuse her, or abandon her because she's not granting one aspect of your sexual desires. There are other things she does. Appreciate those ones and focus on it, and don't become an abuser by enforcing your, you know, your sexual expectations.
It's amazing. Just something just comes into my head as you're talking about that, how the man will have to, you know, let her understand, talk her through.
Right.
I mean, it's becoming like a job.
Making marriage work is a job, actually.
It's a job, really.
Yeah, making marriage work, but it's work in making it work.
Oh, wow.
So you have to be intentional about it. If you really want your marriage to work, there has to be dialogue, there has to be open communication, there has to be transparency, there has to be continuous, you know, talking, expressing yourself until the next, because you can't force that person to get on board with you and do what is outside their will. No, that's no longer love. That's no longer love. She needs to, you need to bring her to that point of acceptance and then let her do it willingly. And that's even when you can be happy and really enjoy the satisfaction you are looking for. Getting it from someone who is doing it with you, your wife, and then she's giving it willingly and lovingly. Right.
That's awesome. I think it's worth it.
Right. Right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you too for being with me.
You're right. Good.
All right. The African community will change by impacting the African family one at a time. Thank you.
Thank you.